Won the rock right now. I put my whole alliance and we all Bronx fam. Took up off the Cisco with the Figueroa links. Counting on the moolah and the Diamante Sphinx. Dragging on the reapers, got my soul high for weeks. I think I see five, put the mag under the seats. We living like a dynasty with custom made juice. One chief blazes Cincy, I need to get loose.
Boxes into the low underworld. Pin sugar walls and naked cities under sniper's moon. The house of bamboo with China's love acupuncture. Menage a trois, the French connection is the satin prince. My Sharia more meditates up in 7th heaven. On cloud 9 contact, Minnesota fest. Let them dream of the satin city. When the Dewano's moonshine is fine as Hollywood. How we do.
Yeah, coach with me in the Vega, bubbling. 6 figures on ice, bubbling. 8-day type business, bubbling. Diamond Crook franchise, bubbling. Coach with me in the Vega, bubbling. 6 figures on ice, bubbling. 8-day type business, bubbling. Diamond Crook franchise, bubbling.
They hide from Sunny Sheba, connect with the Sheba baby Sheen. The snatch golden feast, say la vie. Midnight sun, melting ice grills, zipper face, Mr. Frost. They close with the slaves of New York.
Symphony connection, position clutch extension. Conniving blaze errors, under siege tension. Cut close with toast, cherish pearl tongues. Arabian Nights, designing dreams
Boy,
for the
you
young.
out with the satin struthers and 8 days Hollywood on my satin dog. They whisper Dr. Feel Good in my seduction palace. On king size, Ethan Allen, come and meditate inside my nutcracker suite.
First notice, Black Lotus, Lotus with friction. Currency exchange, multiple digital diction. Remote control corners, digest the sugar. Praise be the lower for the love we gon' live. Coach with me in the Vega, bubbling. 6 figures on ice, bubbling. 8-day type business, bubbling. Diamond Crook franchise, bubbling. Coach with me in the Vega, bubbling. 6 figures on ice, bubbling. 8-day type business, bubbling. Diamond Crook franchise, bubbling.
No love for the cat, it's hot sugar live on the block. A flight to the Juggle Town flock. The shot of life with the jism up in the fluff. My airtight sugar flowing slick, blowing up. I'm on a block bus with the Juggle game praise. A shakedown from the main squeeze a day. Put notes on the bricks with the razor out dice. And check it out while you get out black and
how we live the pop life to kill a sunrise. Mold on visions, China doves cry. Reflect off the ocean, Graceland rules. Pacific height action, the fire star cool. Vanilla trench Averick, it's to underneath. The Valentine believers, 929 sweep. The Odyssey of lower, voyage to the sky. Brigante syndicate for the solar flight high. Yeah, coach with me in the Vega, bubbling. 6 figures on ice, bubbling. 8-day type business, bubbling. Diamond Crook franchise, bubbling. Coach with me in the Vega, bubbling. 6 figures on ice, bubbling. 8-day type business, bubbling. Diamond Crook franchise, bubbling. Coach with me in the Vega, bubbling. Sunny Joy, he be drinking, I'm a bubbling. Geechee Grace, he be drinking, I'm a bubbling.
Are you ready for this?
I don't know what's going on. Apparently, there's so many mishaps today. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. Everybody, of course, you all know that this is episode 9 of Delphi Priestess and the Spiritual Awakening, right? Okay, so let's go ahead. Let's just make sure that we get everything set and we're getting ready to bring our oh so lovely hostess up to the stage. All right, in about 3, 2, and 1. Everybody, welcome the lovely Miss Delphi Priestess.
Remember the day I found myself swimming in the cool waters of the East River.
With your feet in the air and your head on the ground.
Hey, what's going on?
The world above seemed to fade away.
It doesn't mean so much in the end. I've been trying to breathe underwater. I've been trying to hide 'cause I'm scared.
There she is. All right. And there she goes. What's going on, lovely? How are you today? You're on mute. You're on mute. There
Can
you
you
go.
hear me?
Okay. Yes, you are now heard.
A big
Yes.
time delay. Major delay. Can't hear.
Yeah, it is. I know that they messing with the live something vicious today. So let's just look. We're gonna do something called struggle stream, but we're gonna struggle stream together, okay? We're gonna struggle stream our way through this. Don't worry. Hopefully it'll go ahead and kind of clear up. I don't know what's going on, but let's go ahead and get to it. You want to introduce everybody to what it is that we're gonna be talking about, and even introduce yourself. You might be. You got the floor, beloved. This is you. It's your show.
All right. Well, I don't know what videos we're gonna show first. Welcome everybody that's here. Welcome back. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share, engage. This is our 9th episode. It's very I guess I don't know what the word is, but it takes a lot of work to be consistent, persistent, and actually show up. So we're doing it for us as well as everybody, because there's a message in all of that I do broadcast, and it's communal. It's for everybody to come on, as long as you're respectful. The link is always here if you guys want to come on, join us, and have a conversation and talk about the subject. We're all here to learn, and basically we just hold the space. Just hold the space so that we can talk about spiritual talk. So thank you.
Absolutely. I'm gonna be cammed up with you in 1 second. It's just another one of those days. Just give me a second. All right, so we definitely have your clips, right? I'm just gonna pull them up, right? And we can just go ahead and kick it off. And you can just go ahead and let us know
which one are you putting up first.
Which one would you like for me to pull up first? You just describe it to me. I'm gonna go to the email right now. Let me see. Yeah, let me go right here. There we go. So what I'm looking at right here is, it says, hold on. This says, Rising of the Divine Feminine. Is that one you want first?
Yeah, that heavy. Yeah, we can do that one.
Rising of the Divine Feminine.
Yeah,
Okay.
we could do that.
Okay. So let's go ahead and pull this up, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
I appreciate everybody for tuning in.
It's the short clip that I also posted on my Instagram.
Right. Yep, here it is. All right, so let's go ahead and play this. I got to do it through the Instagram because some issues on technical difficulties, but we're going to get all of this straightened out. All right, so let's go ahead and play this. Right here. Let's do this.
I promise you.
Hold on. Can you hear that?
It's the rising of the women's divinity. That's why men.
On my end, on Instagram, it's good.
But you can't see. Okay, on Instagram, you can see it. Yeah, it's probably just your.
I can see it on Instagram, but here it's not.
Right. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and play it. Let's go ahead and get this going. I got you, beloved.
Oh, there you go. I see it.
Okay, good.
Fear women so much. They've been able to hold this fake ass illusion matrix so long. Now they have to actually put on a real show to really figure out who they are. And men don't like it. Men fear a divine woman. Men fear a woman that they can't understand. Men fear shit that they can't automatically see in the light. Because they like beings. They come from the sun. Well, at least some of them do. The most insecure men on the planet are the men.
Let's talk about it. Men not being able to handle, I guess, a secure divine woman. Go ahead, break it down. Talk to the people. Show clip.
Hopefully, y'all got that.
Men not being able to handle a secure divine woman. You got that?
Oh my God, you're so delayed right here. You're so delayed on my end.
It's all good. You got a comment right here. You got a comment right there.
Declaring I'm listening as I meditate and channel, but I'm here. Thank you so much. Meditating and listening. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for meditating, because that's the answer. That's the key. Everyone's talking about. I keep hearing music on my end right here.
Are you hearing the theme? Hold on. You talking about this? Hold on. Wait. 1 second. You talking about that? You talking about that?
Yeah.
That's the thing. You want me to turn that off?
I'm assuming that is what I'm listening to. I don't.
Yeah. The only music that I know playing is right here when I do this.
I mean.
You want me to turn it off? I got you. No
or
problem.
Lower it.
No problem. Yeah, sometimes for some people it's louder. Now I'm gonna just turn it off. Go ahead. Make it easier. Oop, let me hit these banners.
Okay.
I'm bad about that, y'all. Been a long day. All right, so you got it.
I just wanted to touch on what she said. Meditation is.
Damn, you got a crazy lag.
Okay, so meditation is the blue pill. I think it's either the blue pill, meaning like that's the freedom meditation. So that's one of the things I wanted to address. And as far as the video you just played, a lot of, I feel as of lately, feel insecure about a certain divinity that is the divine feminine. And I think it's due to the societal construct and where people believe women should be in terms of spirituality. If he's insecure, right. Insecure, because if he's not insecure, it shouldn't mess with him that you're glorious divinely, a divine feminine.
Did you say gorgeous or glorious?
That should be his. Glorious.
Okay, I know if you said gorgeous or glorious. Well, I mean gorgeous too. You should be insecure if you're gorgeous, you know.
Can you turn it off, because on my side I can't hear it. Sorry.
What can't you hear? What can't you hear? What's going on? Me? There's no music playing. There's no music playing. Huh?
I wish you could hear what I'm talking about.
The only thing that I can tell you is you might want to have to go ahead, like maybe mute one of them. Do you have more than one window up plan? You might have to close out a window. Right. You might have the StreamYard and YouTube on at the same time.
Oh, I see.
Check that.
Okay.
Yeah, and cut off
That's
YouTube and just StreamYard. There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
See, something not a problem.
Crazy.
Not a problem.
What
you good?
is that?
All right, go
Why
ahead.
can't
Take
I
it from the
think?
top.
I can't
Take it from the
even
top.
think.
Yeah, that's what it was. You had
All
two
right.
windows open. So go ahead, take it from the top. What you got? Divine woman and her
Okay.
gloriousness,
So-
and men being insecure about that.
Yes, some men, not all men, but some men can be so insecure about it that they feel that they have to take her down, like destroy her, you know. They get insecure because they don't feel adequate about his divinity in comparison to her. And the truth is, it's like that for some women too. Some women are insecure. I've been faced with that a lot in my journey. But in the ethers, a lot of the men also know their selves as consciousness. The thing that I'm telling everybody to be is what some of them already know themselves as not just only the physical form, but inclusive of the physical form. They understand themselves to be consciousness, simply awareness, not afraid to know themselves, not to just be physical. And in women knowing that they're not just physical all around, she can start doing magical things with her body, magical things in terms of procreation and so forth, and seeing things. You know, I don't want to get into it like that right, not this segment.
Wait a minute. Are you talking like hallucinating, seeing things, or you mean channeling, seeing things? In which way will you speak?
All of the above. That's still small things. That's not what the big elitist masculine are afraid of, because I'm a channel. I mean, what they're afraid of is a certain level of unity amongst humanity, especially sisterhood. They're afraid of a certain level of sisterhood. Kiki, you should come on the YouTube. You should come on.
Tell your peoples is better. Tell your peoples.
Hi, girl.
Anybody who's watching from Instagram, we definitely play it there, but it's a lot easier for us to pull your comments up if you're engaging. If you did want to come up onto the panel,
exactly that small talk. I want her to come on YouTube. Just click the link in the bio. And you'll see my channel or Smitty's Corner. And I think, he's going to drop the link in the chat.
It's already there.
It's already there. So you could do it, I'm thinking, over the phone or on your laptop.
Whatever device has internet. And a microphone, that is. So go ahead. So what you got now? Because this is actually pretty interesting. Because I usually hear, what I'm hearing is how men are insecure about a woman's finances. Like if a woman makes more than that man. Does any of what you're saying right now, does it connect to that same insecurity or fear that a man would have if a woman makes more? Okay. Go ahead.
It's similar, but when you're talking about spirituality, it also depends on the height that you are in spirituality to begin with. So let's say we're both in corporate, like we're both executives. We're making 300, 400,000 a year,
right.
period. But our magic. So the equivalent of that in magic is to be able to go into different timelines. Do heavy magic and then come back here with the average human being that doesn't know themselves to be able to come in and out of existence and awaken them to their divinity. And sometimes it's really the woman's spiritual awakening If
Mhm.
he's an occultist himself, he can get jealous. It's just that way. And the masculine, as of lately, he'll just be like, she's a feminine. She should know her place. It runs its course in all aspects, financial, spiritual. But for the sake of spiritual, there are some men that will say, no, if he's insecure. Because if you're insecure with yourself, you're in confidence with yourself, and you understand yourself to be glorious, you should want anyone around you to be as glorious and greater than you, to be your truest potential, because everything's a reflection of itself. So if you're sitting in a certain level of lack,
Mhm.
that's what's once again, the mirror effect. If certain things are happening around you, you always got to go back in. It's like, what's going back to the drawing board? Oh my God, what's going on now? What's going on now? Because this is what I'm seeing in my reality out here. What do I need to fix? What do I need to change? And just be pursuing of that. But equivalent to that is a man, equivalent to that in spirituality is a man that is secure with his divinity, so that he makes space and makes way for her to be in her divinity without any, because you should want to grow. You should want to be greater than. You should want your partner, your friend, the divine feminine to rise, because that's the call, the rise of the divine feminine.
Right.
Period. That's what it is.
The rise of the divine feminine. Now, the thing is, from what I know, well, I mean, from what I know, did these things ever fall? Did it ever? Because when you say the rise of it, so that means that at one point it was like what, at its height, and it was like diminished. Is that where we are?
Yeah, it was
brothers
at
and
its
sisters
height.
aren't as strong as they used to be, basically, is my point. Do you agree with that, or do you think we all
Yes,
still?
I believe that humanity isn't at its height. Period. We're not at our truest potential. And I think
If
it
we
takes
wound up
discipline.
you know something, I wonder. You got people in the building.
Kiki. Hey, Kiki.
Right now, welcome. Make sure that you hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit that like button and support your sister. All right, let's keep it going. You already know.
Hey, seriously.
Lolo. Yeah, that's Lola. That's Lolo.
Oh,
that's
Lolo.
fine. Yeah.
Dr. Quantum. Hi, everybody. I like
That's
it.
right
Sisters.
there,
You got a lot of females here. What's up?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Now I see you. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we like to hear. Appreciate that right there. Much respect to you. Much respect to you, beloved. You know, my whole thing that I've seen. Do you believe possibly that the men feel inadequate around that woman because in a man's mind, our purpose is to be that divine masculine, and if he's around a woman who is in that form, or at least reaching to achieve that state and form, and he's not, is it more so that he's inadequate, or is it that she's moving forward? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, is it the fact that he's not going anywhere, he's stagnant in his spiritual growth? Or is it the simple fact of, even if he wasn't, no man wants his woman to be equally up there on the spiritual totem pole as him? What's your view?
I believe that if you sit in abundance and you are a true masculine, you're not comparing your divinity with anybody. You can't. The feminine, if you get really deep, when you're talking about the principles of the feminine, principles don't necessarily sit on gender necessarily, but for the sake of the fact that we live in duality. So when I say feminine and masculine, if you're sitting in abundance as an individual, you should want to pursue. If you feel you fall short, you should use that person's divinity as a way of inspiration to be great as well. You should never want to be like, I'm behind, I'm in this crisis, so I want this person to be in this crisis because they're going to be better than me, because they're not going to be in a crisis. It's like, Like, listen to that mindset, that thought process. You should be like, oh, I love her because she inspires me, even as a man, to be better. But it's gonna look
But
different.
what if sometimes but what if sometimes men are careful and cautious about these things? Sometimes we can be careful. What's going on? Salute to you, Chuck. I see you in the building. Much respect to you, beloved. What if, right? What if possibly men have found that, because I'm just going to say what men say so we can kick the conversation. It's not about that woman being in a higher divinity form. It's once she gets there, she thinks that she's better than me, and now she doesn't view me as even her equal anymore. So I believe sometimes what can happen through, at least from me listening and talking to men, that a lot of times that's what they, that's usually the thought. We got some thoughts in the building. Talk about it, sis. Go ahead. Yeah.
Terrible thinking. It's all the mindset. It's all the mindset. There's parents like that. There's parents that don't want to see their kids divinely in spirituality, even to see their glory, the glory, when it should be abundance. I think because we grow up with the idea of lack and competition, and that there's not enough, whether it's spiritually, physically, mentally. So you shouldn't be afraid of someone reaching higher than you and thinking they're gonna be better than you. If you are glorious, I'm glorious. I know I'm glorious. All in my imperfections. All in my imperfection, I am glorious. So you should do what you feel is great. And if you're where I want to be, I just be as disciplined, as focused as you to be where I need to be. And the concern of you being greater than me makes it then I'm comparing myself. Now, if you're going out your way to try and control, and those are other things, that's not that's unhealthy, and you're not healed, and your pursuing of your goal is with different purpose, with different cause. You have different purpose.
Do you believe that possibly us as people do a certain degree of comparing to one another in order to find what we will call compatibility? Do you think that's necessary?
What do you mean by that? Compatibility?
Well, in order for me to find, just period. Just in order for me to know who I'm equally yoked with, right? If you think about it, would there not be maybe a certain degree of, I need to compare maybe her lifestyle to mine, compare how she operates to mine? No, break it down. Teach us. There you go.
Because not everybody, just like your fingerprints, not everybody is the same. And what may look good for you may not be good for me. There's there's guidance, like breathing air is good for us, survival is survival, there to breathe, to eat, and this and that. But when you get into the intricacies of need and wants to pursue what is you need to, you shouldn't be comparing, because what's good for me, what makes me happy, isn't going to be the same as what's good for you and what's going to make you happy. We're not necessarily the same as individuals. I think you should drop the link again, because I don't think she has a link to come on to actually talk.
No problem. All you gotta do, sometimes it does that. It goes away. Just let me know when you want me to redrop the link. That ain't nothing. I got you. All are welcome. I'm pretty sure that this crowd knows we always keep it respectful over here. Now, I know I'm seeing right here, Sister Kiki talking about some, you should not need to be careful. I would love to hear some more about that. You should not need to be careful. I wonder what that means. Okay. Because how much of, I guess you can say, being careful should one be when it comes to their spiritual walk? When it comes to your spiritual walk, is it something that you believe that you just kind of, once you're there, you just dive on in? Or do you kind of like tip your toe in and test the waters and see what you're getting yourself into? I've noticed there are a lot of people who wound up realizing some things in life, and They weren't able to handle it once they found it out. I do believe to a degree that's why the truth is hidden from most. I don't believe most. It's real. Just like in that old movie, You Can't Handle the Truth, right? Jack Nicholson. It's a real thing. A lot of people really get devastated. You good?
Sorry.
What you got?
No. I was just telling her click on the link so she can come live.
Oh yeah,
like,
what you do?
because
What you
she's
do?
still
is this-
talking on the.
Yeah, it's like 3 steps. You just click this right here. Just click on that, and it's going to send you right up in here with us. You're going to be backstage. You hit 2 more buttons. If you don't want to be on camera, you do not have to. For the record, you can stay cam down. You can keep your camera off if you don't want to be on camera. It's not necessary. For the record, all right.
Folks
But,
base things off of compatibility, and that is deceiving. That's what she said.
That's your comment.
Go ahead.
That's your comment.
No, what do you call it? This is like a blurred line between relationship and I'm speaking in general. In relationship, I don't like talking about relationships. That's not my forte. That's not my thing. So when I said men, I was speaking in general. The masculine interaction in certain corners that I'll get into, or in the ethers, or when I'm meditating, the masculine. She goes, yeah, I know. Yeah, girl, like we're not talking about
Hold
relationships
on.
necessarily.
Briefly, I'm going to give her short intro. I always got to give her intro, so you just gonna have to hold tight, fam, because you know I got to bring you in the right way. So without further ado, everybody, I want you to welcome oh so lovely, the oh so beautiful, our native Miss Oshun. Lolo, what's going on?
Yeah, what's up, Smitty? Hey, what's up, sir?
What's going on, family? All right now. What do you want to add to the discussion?
Hey,
So
how
far,
are you?
yeah, so far we were talking about men being, you want to repeat that question? Basically, I guess men feeling inadequate when they're around a woman who actually, let's just say, higher spiritual level, financial level, whatever, a woman being on a higher level than that man. Have you ever had experiences dealing with that yourself, love? What you got, Lolo?
So I've tended to have that experience and seen it in other people's as well. However, I met a guy, and he was a priest, and he explained to me some things about that, and it's a misunderstood aspect of humanity that most people just they see it, but they don't see it, right?
Right.
There's certain things that I've experienced that have allowed me to understand that men are endowed with certain unique traits, and so are women. Because men and women, at least in my belief and background and study, did not come to existence at the same time, according to most beliefs. Some people believe men and women were created at the same time, whatever the case may be. In both instances, I see where there's an opening to accept maybe a reality that men and women were created for different purposes and thus given different unique traits to help them in their evolution. I'll say this: when it comes to women being more ahead of men spiritually, right? We can talk about that from a basic human level, right? Or we can talk about that when it comes to culture. Because when you go to certain cultures, right, they're steeped in their spirituality, right? To say women are more advanced than the men when it comes to their spiritual development, that might not necessarily be true. However, if you come to places that are more Western, you're definitely going to get that. And that's really because of the history behind slavery, where religion was the only thing you could freely obtain. And that has its roots in the Middle Ages as well, and antiquity. But women typically were the slave status for most of human history and most cultures. And if religion was the only thing free to all, because it couldn't really be taken from you in some degree, I can see why women would be more connected to spirituality, because they've had more time to be cultivated within the realm of the mindset that's needed to take advantage of spirituality in the real world. So that's what
Okay. All right. Well, last time I checked, Lolo, and we're going to get Kiki you next right after I say this. We're going to get you in Nexus. We got you, beloved. And thank you so much for tapping in with us. We appreciate you. Last time I checked, Lolo, I could have sworn, like, when it came to rulership in the original days, it was more of a matriarchy than patriarchy, right? So, I mean, I'm just saying, like, maybe I missed, that little piece of, because you're saying, like, women been like the slaves of it. But I thought the women were, like, back in those days, from Kemet to Egyptian, everything, and so on and so forth, like, were the oracles, right?
That's not necessarily true. To say that a country operates on a matriarchy is not to say that it doesn't maintain its slave culture. A matriarchy just means that they just believe that, for instance, some cultures just believe that their lineage comes down through the female line. And the female line, it's how a male is derived to be in kingship or leadership or not. That doesn't, they're still, in a sense, in a patriarchal fashion, but you have a matriarchal, let's say, royalty base, right? Then there's others that are more egalitarian, that lean more towards a matriarchy, especially in small pockets in Africa, where you have whole clans led by the eldest female. We see that when it comes to killer whales.
Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's just, so it's not. Matriarchy don't look the same from culture to culture, region to region, but it doesn't mean that there's no slave class because there's a matriarchy. I think people think matriarchy women. That's not necessarily what that is. And then there's some cultures that have a patriarchy, right? But the patriarchy is somewhat based in matriarchal concepts. Like, for instance, there's a culture in West Africa, right, where when they get married, to show that you have wealth and that you have a good relationship, your wife must be obese. There's a place where
I've seen that. No, I've seen that. They will, they fatten them up and they have them lined up, and you pick the chunkiest one and all. I've seen that ritual. I've seen that before.
Right. Yeah. Now the issue with that comes from an older time of what we call the calf, right? And that is premised on an older culture that's premised on let's say a female deity that gave mankind the tools of civilization. So when you have a culture that's premised on that, right, and you see them they're a patriarchy. Like, the male is in leadership. They have very much traditional values. However, they have these rituals that you would say, hey, that don't necessarily fit with that, but it still exists. You see? And so I would separate matriarchy and what I'm speaking about in terms of slave class, because both can simultaneously exist in the same place.
Okay. I like that. I appreciate that, Lolo. Man, Lolo be dropping them gems, man. Y'all better know, man. Get hip. Y'all go over there and subscribe to the Love Experience. Also to, what is it, Game of Dragons, right?
Yes.
Game of Dragons, all right. Love Experience and Game of Dragons. I sure they got two channels working it on them. So Kiki, what you got for us tonight, beloved? We would love to hear what you have to say in your beautiful mind. What you got?
Listen here, I'm actually here watching you guys' show. So what you guys have to say is going to dictate what is going to come out my mouth. You know what I mean?
Okay. All right.
I'm flowing.
Hey,
you free to speak, Kiki.
Nah, I'm not. I just gotta hit this for sis real quick because she came in the door straight with it.
Black Air Force energy.
Okay, now.
All right.
So yeah, all right. So would you like to get to your next video? You on mute? Okay, let's do it.
Yes, go ahead.
So this
Can you
one
hear me
right
now?
here, yeah, I can hear you. Personally, this guy right here is like jive crazy to me, but it's kind of like a Charleston White effect. It's like, I know you cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but you do be dropping gems. All right, because trust me, I'm in the hip hop world, so I know a nice little bit about this guy. Oh, wrong one as well. Hold on, let me pull this up. Here we go. I just gotta go to the next one. Here we go.
Was this in your video?
Yep. No, I got you right here. Let's do it.
This how
Hold on.
you gotta do. So you gotta have a plan. So you gotta tame your body and your mind first. So first thing you gotta do, you gotta wake up every day at the same time. You gotta try exercising your body. To tell your body, look, you work for me. So you exercise. Make it move, even when I don't want to move. And then you make your mind read for 10 to 15 minutes. Even though it don't want to read, it ain't read. And then you make it remember. And you close your eyes, you accept all the pain, and you cry. And then you tell it to blank out. And then you let it blank out. If you do that every day, the same problem from yesterday won't come back tomorrow. Because you got to wipe yourself. You know how you computer? We live in a simulation. So you know how the computer, you got to delete everything and wipe all the files. If you don't, it'll start running slow. Your phone and shit start running slow with all the backed up files in it.
Yes.
That's how your mind is. It's the same way. So you got to clear it. You got to delete shit. You got to remove shit. Or you going to start getting real old and slow. Like my iPhone 7.
Right.
But it's still good.
All right. Yeah, he definitely brought that. The floor's open. Y'all got it.
No, the way he delivers is crazy. You know, he it's different. But
He needs to get a speaker. He needs to get somebody to just say it for him. Because that face, I'm sorry, that's the face only a mother can love.
It's working for him apparently. I know that. I don't know who
What did
he
you
is.
have to say, Kiki?
I said it's working for him apparently. This is my first time seeing him. I don't know who he is. But just off that video,
His name is Unk Matt.
607.
Yeah. He does like interviews with hip hop artists and stuff like that. And he's like in the podcasting realm. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
That's what's up. I mean, yeah.
The reason I chose that video is because he's telling you basically reprogram your thought
process.
Reprogram, yes, your thought process. He's just saying it like crazy, but
Well, he's saying like you have to follow a system to do it. You know, because there's a lot of people out here on these platforms causing confusion, having people thinking that they need to do this and do that to be connected with source. And it isn't even about that. Like reading these books, how he's talking about reading the books, that he got to where he's at from reading the books. But in the beginning, there was only books that was what they had given people. So everybody's like in confusion right now. So, and that's what he's telling people, oh, this is what you got to do. So guess what? People are going to see him progressing in life some way. Well, because even their book says the enemy progresses, but that's neither. I'll go real deep, and I think you guys are surface today. I'm assuming. I don't know.
Go deep. What you mean, girl? Girl, how deep into the
No, because
rabbit
it's
hole
my
you
first
trying to
time.
go?
This my
Let's go.
Yeah. No, I'm just saying because it's my first time here, so I want to make sure I'm following y'all show.
You are
Yeah, the
part of the
only
show now. You here?
yeah, the only thing that goes on over here is yeah, again, like, you know, I try my best to set a stage, set a platform where folks can come up and speak their mind. Talk your mind, whatever it is you want to say, however you feel about it, speak it. Ain't no judgment over here.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you good, sis. You good. You safe.
Yeah, no, I know.
Respect to you. Now, how about this? You said something earlier before we go too far. Can somebody mute? Let me see. I think it might be. Yeah, it's you. All right, so Sister Kiki, I'm gonna mute you while I'm talking. As soon as I'm done, I'm gonna take you off mute. All right, so right here, you got a comment, and you were saying earlier, like, you know, there she go. What's going on, Foxy? You know we got a spot for you.
Hey, Foxy.
You were saying you should not be careful, and earlier when we was talking about the man and how he was feeling. You want to tap in on that briefly before we move forward? I mean, you know, and let everybody else respond, because I don't think you got a chance to respond to that. I want to make sure you get your piece in too. Oh, my bad. There you go. You got it. You got it.
So my comments at that time was based off of something that you had stated, and I didn't keep up with what you stated, so I couldn't even break it down for you right now. But if you remember what you said, then for sure I'll be able to break it down.
Basically saying how there are men at times who feel as if they get to us. I got you. There are men who feel as if they get to a certain level. No, if that woman gets to a certain level, it's not that she got to that level, it's the headspace that comes with when she gets there. And some men, I guess, from what I've heard, because I'm somebody who speaks to a lot of people at this point, right? I hear a lot about how it's not about the money, it's not about the promotion, it's not about the spiritual elevation, it's about the headspace that comes with it. And then she then looks at me as if I am beneath her and not her equal, at least bare minimum. You got the floor, beloved.
On that, would he okay, to me and my, if it was me and I was in a situation where my elevation or whatever it is, my creation is forming, and then my counterpart is feeling like he's less than I, well, then I would say right there we're unequally yoked.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got that. So when it comes to this video right here, Priestesses, you got the floor. I guess you, Lolo. I want to hear what you guys got to say as far as. So, what's your thoughts on what Unc
The video we just played right now.
Yeah.
It's just as simple. It's simple. It's just reprogram yourself in this simulation. Reprogram your thought process in this illusion. So, like, the idea is that your computer, your thoughts are the programming. And you have to make, when he says make it just go blank, you tell yourself to go blank. He's telling you to, like, reprogram, delete it. You know, which is like I guess the more nicer, more sane, more way of addressing it is just to take your time, to have the discipline, meditate, and have yourself to remember yourself, who you really are, because we fell into a certain level of programming on how to be, how to eat, how to live, how to be, and and we have to remember who we are. That's the biggest situation. That's the biggest case. That's the biggest awakening in spirituality. Really remembering who you are as an individual. Make sure to
Okay.
make sure everyone to like, share. Thank you so much for everyone that's here. Appreciate it.
Now, Lolo, you know I love how your mind works, because it's different, but it's definitely in tune. So you do martial arts, and you have family in that. How much of what is being spoken about would you put into perspective, or what do you see the connect or disconnect in everything that was said so far? What's your take?
So, as it pertains to martial arts training, and where there's the connector point, I would say the first thing you understand in martial arts is that your brain and your body is working together, and both not one, they operate as one thing, but they're not one thing. And you do these small little exercises to help you understand in your conscious mind the limitation of your mind, like, and where they are and or are not, right? So, like, this is one exercise you do. Like, if you try to touch your toes, right, and you mark where you're at, where your fingertips are at on your body, right, when you try to touch your toes, and then you stand up and you just imagine touching further. Just imagine yourself touching further. The action you just did, imagine doing it again and touching further. Science has proven over and over again, you will touch further. Even if you were at your max when you tried, you will touch further simply because you now believe that you can. So it's not a matter of belief as in faith. That's not it. It's a matter of quantum physics, which is what you focus on will be. That has its roots in some physics that we don't even quite understand right now. That's still being researched. So that's like a small thing that you learn when doing, martial arts training, because you're putting your body through a certain physicality that it normally doesn't undergo. Having to
A physical extreme. Yeah.
Having to train your brain to do 2 to 3 things at the same time requires you to allow yourself to do it. And the reason why I use the word allow is because you're not used to having to do it. So your brain has become comfortable with one thing at a time. It just has. So now that you're requiring it to do something different, it has its own mind and it doesn't want to do that. It wants to do what's comfortable. And to rewire your actions, in a sense, right? It does take some level of, let's say, repetition, right? But at the same time, no matter how much repetition that you do, if your brain doesn't believe you can do the thing that you're trying to do in your subconscious mind, you will never do what you're trying to do in your conscious mind, because your subconscious is where the truth lies. So, for instance, with certain cultures, somebody got their mic on. For instance, in some cultures, they'll do rituals, right? And everything that they're doing represents something else. It doesn't represent what you're looking at. It represents something else. The reason why certain you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now. Yeah, you good. You good. Take your time, fam. You got it. Let me see what we got.
So some cultures will put, let's say, a lot of imagery, weird imagery, inside of their rituals. That isn't by mistake. That is to essentially allow your brain, your subconscious brain, to be your conscious brain to be bypassed, so that your conscious brain can now take over and operate within its truth. So, like, you have, let's say you're thinking about a deceased relative, and you got something, and you have something in your hand that they gave you, right? The reason why you feel a connection to that thing isn't because you believe that your relative is that thing. It's because in your subconscious mind, you see what I'm saying? You now have believed a connection to them through that. So in order for you to truly put yourself in the mindset to connect with something, what we would call as paranormal, you have to be holding that thing in your hand. Why? Because your conscious mind knows that there is no connection between, let's say, I don't know, a photograph or a rock or a flower and your dead relative. Like it understands this is a flower, not your dead relative. But your subconscious mind is where the truth of what this is on a higher plane. So, you know, I would say from what the young man, or I don't know, yeah, what the young man was saying, it has its truth in that reality that honestly people kind of skirt in and they practice those things, but they don't really understand how deep that rabbit hole goes. And I think this guy Ankh, or I forgot his name that you just stated, I think his presentation allows for people to bypass, let's say, their conscious aversion to it, right?
Facts.
Sometimes the way people present can be the make or break for the mind to say, oh, this is real or this is not real, therefore I reject it or I accept it. In my opinion, he's humanizing something that is above your baseline nature, right? And this is where I would disagree with a statement said earlier as far as remembering who we are. Who we are, we're animals. That's who we are. But the truth is we have a different nature because of a place and time where we were created. So we have two natures. Even I would argue we have three natures, but we have two natures, which means that we're not just animals. There's something else special about us, unlike our counterparts. So it's not that we're more intelligent. It's not that we're better. We're just different in that way. So I would argue that you just can't tell yourself do something better when you're fighting your nature, like your base nature. Like you just can't tell yourself that. You have to actually understand your base nature. That therefore your mind can move along with, for instance, if you have let's say an itch for something you don't supposed to have an itch for, whatever that may be, you have to understand why you have that itch before you can move away from trying to fight the itch or reprogram yourself. So you can't just talk yourself into change. You have to know what this is and know where you are and where you will be, period. Like it's not a matter of trying to convince yourself, because I've done that in the past as well with the whole talking to myself to make sure that I stay reminded. The reason why my brain doesn't remember is because it doesn't believe that. And so I can't fight that. I got to actually use the physics of how the brain works to make a difference in that way. So that's why it goes back to the martial arts training, that you can't just tell your body to do something and then when it don't do it, you just figure, well, it can't do it because it's not doing it. That's not the physicality of it all. But if you can understand the physicality of martial arts down to the neurons, then martial arts will seem like a very easy thing for you. And the worst thing might be just, I don't know, running 3 miles a day because you got to go to work. So, yeah, that's what I'll say.
Nah, I ain't mad at you, but just as much as we, have a separate when it comes to nature, we got a lot of things in common. Like, I don't know, wanting your space and attitudes. I mean, really. Kiki, what you got before we get to this next video?
At the moment, I'm listening.
I love it. Respect to the family. Okay, now, what you say? All right. You take it easy. Respect to you. Thank you for stopping in. All right, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to pull up your next video, what you got right here for me. Let me go back to the inbox. What I'm looking at here is... No, that's not it.
That one, That one's a long video. I should have
It
told
is?
you what part I want you to stick on, but you could probably just play 1 minute of it, like break it down at a time, maybe.
Oh, this
Like,
next one that I have. Nah, I mean that's the thing. Shit. I don't know why, but I can't seem to find where I can. Let me see something here. I can't seem to find where I can pause it. It's like I just gotta let it play through. Yeah, hold on, inbox.
Yeah, just play it.
Okay. Yeah, I think I just gotta play it through. Let me see something here. Oh, this is a YouTube video.
Whoa.
It's a YouTube. Hey, it's a YouTube video. You're on mute. You're on mute. Oh. I don't think she's on mute
yes,
on purpose.
I know. I muted myself.
No,
'cause
you
y'all
good.
trust
You
me.
good. I just, yeah. I just realized that. I think I got her last video. Oh no, yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I can't. You said the water dragon? Is that it?
Yeah, the water dragon. That's
Yeah, I can
what
pause this. Yeah.
when
Yeah, I can pause this whenever you want me to.
Yeah.
Yeah. You good? Yeah, you good on that.
Okay.
Let me go ahead and do that right there.
You don't have to play the whole intro. It's up to
Okay.
you. See however you want to do it.
Let me see where we are real quick. Give me 1 second. What we're going to do is matter of fact, this is actually perfect. We're just going to take a very, very brief commercial break. And this commercial break is brought to you by the hostess of the show. And we will be right back. All right. Let me go ahead and pull this video up. Respect to the family. The time right now is 10:04 p.m. East Coast Standard Time. And I thank everybody so much for tuning in. So let me see what we got. This looks actually pretty interesting. I'm not gonna lie, it looks a little scary on some voodoo. But we good though. Let's go ahead and rock out. Bow. Which one do you like better, Priestess? You like this mode or you like this mode? Which one you want?
I like us to the side.
Bow. Say less. Let's go.
This is the audio of Mind Magic, a practical guide to manifesting your desires and living the life of your dreams by Kevin Fulton. You are not your mind and you are not your body. What is mind magic? These are actual tools available to your authentic inner self, consciousness, or pure being. These different words all
I would just like to say you did a phenomenal job putting this together. Great job, beloved.
indicate the same thing, and that thing is experienced as pure presence. Presence is the feeling of being here now. It is experiencing and fully accepting the present moment as it is without judgment, analysis, or focus on the past or the future. It is realization of your true nature as a point of perception in the unmanifested field of pure potential. This field is infinite and contains all energy and information. It is the eternal source from which the entire manifested universe is created. You are not separate from the source. It is your experience.
Wow. What you got?
Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
So mind magic, it's called mind magic, but what he's really talking about is consciousness and being
I
able
thought you
to
said my magic. Oh, okay. Mind.
mind. mind, magic.
Okay. Go ahead.
So the idea in spirituality is meditation into knowing yourself, not only as the animal body, what we want to call ourselves animal, but we are very, very esoteric. That's the biggest secret to humanity's existence, is that we exist in multidimensionally, eternally, and so on. But that's where the whole programming, that's why I like that guy when he comes in there like, the same with Bobby Hemmett. Those guys are just like that's your humanity. Come on there because we get mad. Like, that's your humanity. Because you're gods. This is not for, he'll tell you, I'm not a black leader. To lead who? A bunch of niggers I don't even like? I'm talking to the gods. Those who know themselves as this. That's what he'll tell you. That's the reason why I like 607 because he's like, yeah, you reprogram yourself. You in the simulation. Everyone's talking about the matrix. No, all that means is go inside. Close your eyes. Have the discipline to go inside and know yourself, expansive, inclusive of what we're calling physical body, but is also an energy body, a vibrational body, a living body. And knowing yourself to be connected with the all, the universe, with everyone. Therefore, you can't compare. You'll literally see yourself like a certain form of osmosis. I've seen it. I witnessed it before. To feel where you know everything to be consciousness. Mm-hmm. You have to it takes discipline. It takes work. Everyone is accessible to it. You can do it. You just have to understand the divinity within yourself and understand the body, what we're calling a body. Okay. And I was when I'm like, what do you mean? What did you call it? Well, and this energy form, this manifested form in this existence, understand it's just another tool to exist here. And it's been programmed since it existed to believe a certain way. That's why I like when he says, just go blank. Just go blank. You go blank. You reprogram yourself in the simulation. You know yourself, it's a louder way of saying, or you can go the Alan Watts way, where Alan Watts is like, you to know yourself again, humanity is gods. We're all saying the same thing. The deliverance is just different because we're saying it to different, different people, different groups, different. It depends, maybe, for instance, will address someone that's in the ghetto, the ghetto or the hood, more than likely, because everyone has their stigmas, right? But I like it all. I like the very fancy to Alan Watts to the like, fuck you niggas, close your damn eyes, meditate. I like that too. I like it all because the message is all the same. The deliverance is different, but the key goal is to know yourself not only as the physical body, but as a unity consciousness. And we're pretending we don't know ourselves as this avatar, but we're all one unity consciousness.
All right.
Nothing here.
I'm gonna spark it. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna spark it, and then I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna let Lolo be the lighter fluid. I'm gonna spark it right here. The only reason why, me personally, I have such a difficulty with thinking to myself that I am a god is because I have yet to find the man who was able to obtain physicality, right? The physical version of immortality. When I think of God, G-O-D, I think of immortal, endless, continuous, right? Free of hunger, rest, everything we can think of. And I don't know, Lolo, I'm about to pass it to you, fam. You already know. Get in there, Dragon. I'm just trying to really wrap my mind around me being able, and I don't know. You can tell me once Lola's finished, Priestess, and you too, Kiki. Both of y'all get in there when you feel like it, beloveds. I have a hard time seeing myself as that, knowing that I do tire, I do hunger, I do need to use the bathroom. And my time here in this physical vessel is on a limitation, right? So I don't know. I got a hard time calling myself that, but I digress. My mic is muted. You got the floor, Dragon.
So I'm not negating what you're saying, Smitty, but I think you might have to parcel out what Priestess had said earlier. She made a clear distinction early on that you, the part of you that thinks, not the brain, which is the tool that thought is processed through, or the body that the brain controls through neuron links. You, right, are not those two things. So there's three things in existence happening within your being, right? It's three things present. Now, when you say, I don't see myself as a God because I see God as forever, as strange as it may sound, you believe in heaven and hell, which is a forever thing that you're going to be in. So therefore, you believe that you came from a thing that doesn't have a beginning, and you will exist forever with no end, just someplace else. Life, just existence continues to go on. It's just in a different physical form. You already believe that at your base core. So when she says, well, you're not your mind, you're not your body, she's essentially saying that the part of you that is really you is a thing that can't come into existence or go out of existence. It's not a physical thing that needs that. For instance, you said, well, I get hungry. No, your body gets hungry. Your body lacks calories and things that it needs so that it can function in this 3D world based on the gravitational force on this planet. Move you into outer space, your hunger is going to change. A lot of things are going to change with your body. So when you say what you're saying, essentially you're identifying yourself with your body in one moment, but in another moment, you clearly understand you're not your body. So it's like when it was said in the scripture, ye are gods, and then it was followed up with, you can do what I've done and greater. And we're talking about a man that called somebody back to their body after they had passed on, and you can do greater things just if you know that you can. I've had that conversation with my father, and he had a hard time wrapping his mind around that, and that's his religion. Like he said, and it was really because we were at a funeral, and I don't know how we got on that conversation, but I told him, I said, Dad, if truly you are a Christian, you do know that what Jesus did, essentially, he said, this is small time in comparison to the things you are really able to do, just if you believe it. He's not talking about your physical body. He's not talking about your brain inside your skull. He's not talking about that. He's talking about the impervious you that is that third thing in existence there. And people have many names for that. But this is the danger of identifying yourself with anything physical, because you get your brain says, this is me now. So the height of that thing, that's the height of me. When in truth, this is the baseline of why what she said earlier is you have to remember, meaning pull back together who you truly are. Because when you forget who you are, you will identify with the physical world. You will move through the physical world like this is the only thing that has existed and will exist. And every limitation here will be your limitation. And we have clear examples of when people are not limited to their identities are not limited to this physical world, they can do some very amazing things that would defy all senses of our mathematics, I would say. So I would just kind of correct you in that way in terms of your understanding of what's being said.
Okay, so Lolo, so what you're saying is, to me at this moment, is that most people, right, are actually, if not all of us, are capable of actually tapping in and actually being the gods or goddesses, if you want to say it, that we are rightfully due to be. But it's that we are too focused on our physical. Now, let me just say, I guess, one thing to this, Sister Dragon. The fact is that Science and math and numbers are real. The fact is, we are in this 3-dimensional realm. All right. And so there are limitations to this realm. And I do believe that we were placed here in this 3-dimensional realm so that we can elevate to the 4th, 5th, and beyond, right? But for right now, we do need to make sure that we stay grounded and know exactly what's going on with the vessel. My whole point is I do believe in taking it step by step. You yourself even know one of my main famous quotes is, you must crawl before you walk, walk before you run before you fly before you soar. It's steps, it's levels to this, right? We even say that in a little slang, it's levels to this, right? You don't skip steps. Martial arts, you don't skip belts. Corporate America, you don't skip levels. You got to take it step by step. And I believe that a lot of us, we're too focused on trying to reach all the way for the diploma before we even got to class first. And that's my main issue. It's not that we can't do it and or achieve it. My whole thing is we don't even take time to harness what the physical vessel consists of. You know how much science is inside of the human body? You know how many people don't even know that there's actual gold in your body? Well, little things like that. Rock out, Lola.
I agree with you there that there's a lack of knowledge. As it was said, people perish not because of a lack of faith, but for a lack of knowledge. I will give you that wholeheartedly. But I will say this: survival, like hand to mouth survival, will stop anybody from giving a fuck about anything you just said.
Right.
And that's natural. When my children are hungry, I don't care where God is.
Right.
I don't even care if there's a God. My children are hungry. Like I said, we are animals first. So not having to worry about your survival allows you to think about things like, what is my body made of? I don't have to worry about getting food and cleaning water and making sure my kid ain't dying. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. I got to fend off from an animal. I'm good, right? Now I can think about meditation. I can't meditate when I'm afraid that this hurricane is about to tear off my only home that's only like 4 by 6 feet. Like
that's
I can't.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
This is why, I give grace to people who are in survival mode because they can't be focused on, greater things. You see what I'm saying? Like the only reason why, for instance, I remember my son was a little younger, and this is where I learned always be humble when it comes to your opinion of yourself and your spiritual development. He had said something to me that I just never forget in terms of how to be. And he was young. Like, I think he was young. Like, my son's only 15 right now, my youngest. Right. And I just remember how it hit me, like what he said. And I always remember it. And now when I approach things, like when I think, I don't feel like doing something or I'm discouraged about something, I think about what he said. And he was an itty bitty thing. You see what I'm saying? And he can't be on time for nothing. Okay. So I learned in passing something very deep about the truth of what this reality calls for me to be and do from a child that didn't even know really what he was talking about. So I know that what exists is seeking to teach me in every moment of the day. So now I know what you said about why we come into existence, but I truly believe that for what hell truly is, this is hell. This is where you get your greatest lesson right here. And when you go on, you will go on based on the lessons that you learned or didn't learn here. And I don't think hell is a place, and this is just my opinion. I don't see hell as a place.
In suffering. We start in suffering, Lola?
I'm not saying that you start anywhere. What I'm saying is there's no starting point. What I'm saying is I think what people interpret it as fire, which is purification, is being misinterpreted as a literal fire. And they don't understand what we're really talking about. So right now in your life, you're being purified of every misconception you have, every problem you ever thought you didn't have, but you did have, like every relationship that you don't know how to have, you're being purified every day when it comes to that. It's my belief that if you die, when you come back, you will come back based on that you learned.
Right.
And that's just how I think life repeats itself. It could repeat itself slightly differently and whatnot, but I don't subscribe to, let's say, the more rudimentary understanding of these words, because it puts you in mindset to identify with the physical world again. And that's not who and what you are. Fire is a thing based on this reality. It doesn't exist nowhere else.
I just want to say I really can't argue with that too much, because from Islamic, old Christianic, Asian, African, flames have always have been known as a form of purification, more so than a punishment. It was purification long before it was punishment. So touche. Touche. I can't say none of that.
No, I admit it feel like punishment. I ain't even taking that away.
You know what I'm saying? I can't say none of that, but it is described as purification. It is. Yeah. We all know, even down to, watch this, even down to a basic form, washing dishes. Ain't we supposed to do that in hot water? Right? Don't nobody want to wash their hands or wash dishes in cold water, right? So let's just take it just from a basic level for those who may not be able to, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, we tapped in. Now you on one, Lolo. Let me know when you want to get back to your video, beloved. This you.
All right, go ahead.
Let's go ahead and get back to it. Hold on real quick. Kiki, you want to tap in there, beloved? What you got for us? Come on.
What you got? I did, but we gonna go ahead and just stick with the video. We gonna stick.
No. That's what I like. Yeah. That's what I like right there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
All right, now. And with that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. Hold on 1 second. What's going on right here? There we go. The time right now is 10:24 p.m. East Coast Standard Time, and I thank everybody so much for tuning in. Much respect to the family. Let's see what we got. Let me know when you want me to pause it.
Seeing yourself as pure being or consciousness. As such, you are continually interacting with this field of infinite potential, and from that interaction, manifesting your life experience in the world of forms. To experience this directly is to have direct knowledge of your true self. It is the experience of presence. This is essential to understanding, as all your infinite power to create is always in the present moment. You interact with eternal source through the tools that are your body and mind. As a tool, your mind can be viewed as a computer. It is programmed by commands, and these are what you call your thoughts. Sufficient
I want to know something. Is there a problem with a mind's programming? Now, I want us to think about it. Like, for example, like how Lolo said, right? Even in nature, right? So we are animals first. I actually agree with that a lot. Anybody who knows me knows I'm definitely organic with it. That part that you speak about, is it truly that it's an organic, natural, like us as people, right? When you say, let me go back to this piece right here. I want to go back to this piece. I just want to make sure I actually heard you correctly before I comment all the way. Hold on 1 second. Let me make sure I heard you right.
As a tool, your mind can be viewed as a computer. It is programmed by
being programmed. Animals learn habits through programming. The fact is, I mean, birds how they forage deer or animals of what do you call it? Herbivores, carnivores, everything. Life has a programming. Everything in life has a programming. When we talk about computer system programming, that is something that's derived in an electronic way from something that's always been. You see? So I'm just trying to figure out, yeah, like my question to the panel is, so of course, starting off with the hostess, we're gonna go to Lolo and then Kiki. If you do want to comment, you can just enjoy the ride, beloved. We love you being here. Is it a bad thing to be programmed? Rock out.
It all depends on what the program is, because we exist multi-dimensional. So like when you say the animals, right? So I know celestial beings called the avian. Okay, so avians, they look like birds, right?
Hold on,
So
wait a minute.
the
Avon?
birds that are celestial.
Avon?
Avian, the blue avian.
Oh,
They call blue
oh,
avian.
never mind. I thought you were talking about what my mama used to order. Go ahead. My bad.
The blue avian. The blue avian, the Anubis dog star, the feline segment, the Bestat, the crocodile, you name the creature that we see here in the physical form, right? What we're calling physical form. This dimension, this third dimension, this is how they're represented here. But celestially, they're magical. These beings, the cat beings, the lion beings, right? So that's the magical essence of them. And because we believe in our program in this is our environment. To see birds act like they do as blue avians, we may not be ready for that. So in order to see, I guess you would have to know what a blue avian is. See if you could look up blue avian, if you could pull that up. Let me see if I could spell it.
My bad, I was on mute. So I'll go ahead, I'll pull that up. I was actually just really, really curious. So like before we get back to it, I'm curious and I want to hear from the both of you. Lolo, is it bad for the mind to be programmed?
No, I agree with Priestess. It depends on what programming, specifically if that programming is proliferating said being or object, or if it's contributing to is devolution, not evolution but devolution. Just like things can evolve based on need, they can evolve based on false stimuli of some sort, and to its detriment, right? Evolution is to your betterment. The other, and in opposite. So no, I don't disagree with that. That it depends. I'll say when you get into what we're talking about, I think what we're talking about is bending back wiring into its proper place, its original place. So it's not like we're trying to rewire, like do something new or different. What we're saying is you come into this world perfect in terms of your wiring, right? But then you start identifying with things that aren't yourself, which is the first issue you have, right? As you get older, and it starts very young, you see what I'm saying? Whereas, for instance, when people take babies, and this is no diss to my Catholic fam, okay? I love y'all and your mother. But
here we go. Here we go.
The first thing they want to do when the baby comes is throw the baby underwater and claim that its sins are being cleansed away. Now, we all know sin is not just doing something God said not do. Like God said, thou shalt not kill. But then God ordered the killing of whole civilizations. Like, so it's like killing and sin. It's like, it's not that straightforward. You see what I'm saying? It's intentional. You see what I'm saying? it's a lot that go into that. So why are we quote unquote baptizing babies of all people? This is what I'm saying. Children come into this world wired correctly, and then they become diswired. So when we start talking about rewiring the brain to remember who we are, remember our purpose, remember what our capability is, we're just coming back to the middle. We're not doing anything new. And so that's why I think, like she said, it depends on the purpose. Like our purpose right now is to, let's say, slow the train down from an evolutionary standpoint, and kind of like, once we get it to stop, walk it back to the right track. And I think right now we're in the phase of slowing that train all the way down. As you can see with the way the world is moving, there's less people relying strictly on religion to understand the world around us. You see what I'm saying? We're tapping more. So you see more people practicing spirituality today than you did 100 years ago. So, and obviously there's more people clearly, but there's a slowing down of that train wreck fitting that's already done happened.
Now,
So
hold on, Lolo, real quick, as you continue. Now, just to interject briefly, is that a bad thing? That is more spirituality than religion?
like I said, I don't want to define something as bad just because I'm saying, well, I don't agree with it or I do agree with it. What I'm saying is it depends, like she said, on what's actually happening, not what you believe or what you like or what you may desire. It's what actually is happening. You can desire something, right? That's bad for you, right? You could be really trying to rewire your brain to accept something that is detrimental to your health, your spirituality, your physicality, whatever. Does you see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like, are you able to manifest? Should you be manifesting? Sure. Like, you have the capability of doing so. But should you do that under the circumstances of rewiring your brain to do something that could harm yourself or others in any capacity, whether you understand it or not? The answer is absolutely no, because that's not the rule of the universe. And when you go against the rules of the universe, you never win. There is no winning against the universe. It's a equation that you will fall through, and it has, let's say, places where it's accounted for when people misfire. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's just like a computer. A computer is wired to work correctly, but then it's also wired to pick up on when it is out of like commission, and it'll tell you error. It's not wired to be an error, but it has this in its wiring to understand when something goes wrong.
Yeah, it has a mechanism to tell you when it's at that. Well, I got you.
Correct. So this is what I'm saying.
It's not designed to overheat, but you will get that dot on your light to let you know it's overheating. Right.
Because that's just how the universe works. People say, well, the universe is perfect. Yes and no. It is perfect in that it is operational. But is it perfect in that everything's lovely? Right? No, it's not. Everything's not meant to be lovely. There's parts of the universe and life itself that's meant to be destructive. That's why we have, like the what is it, the Kali. You see what I'm saying? Like the destroyer. You feel me? Like we have, what is it, Papa Legba, the trickster. You see what I'm saying? But these are entities that are necessary for things to operate. It's not a matter of being perfect or imperfect. And that's where I disagree with most people that follow religion, that they expect that God to quote unquote be perfect, in that God loves everybody and nobody's hurting and everybody's in a fully blissful state. And that's their idea of perfect. And it's like, no, that's your new age shit. That's based on your personal physicality right now. That's not how the universe works.
Most humans have an identification of, Lola, God being the perfect one, us being of imperfection.
That's because they're identified with it.
Huh?
That's because they have identified with their physicality. If I told you that,
wait, real quick. Why should we? Something like, I'm really curious.
Only. That's the thing. You've identified with your physical form only. You are multi-dimensional.
Okay. If you're saying only, I think the both of you know that. I got you, but I believe that the both of you even know. I've given this example before from panels and even off, that imagine, you remember the example I gave, imagine walking into a room It's all white. It's a couch and it's nothing but just a picture frame, right? And then you step out and they ask you what's wrong. You go back in that same room and it's the same couch, same all white walls, but now there is a portrait up on the wall. And the example that I give from that is when you only have religion with no spirituality, it's like the frame on a wall with no portrait. But we have seen many, many times where you can have a portrait on the wall with no frame. Both of y'all know I say that, right? So I get you. What I'm saying is this, though. I'm just trying to figure out at what point, Lola, do we recognize our limitations? I get you on that. Now, a lot of what is being spoken about, because we all know there's a difference between the brain and the mind, right? So a lot of, when you say that, that is the physicalities of the brain.
See, we're speaking of consciousness,
which is the mind, correct? You agree, right?
No. Let me explain consciousness.
Go ahead.
Let me explain. Consciousness is the etherical, and this is science. You got it. There's science behind everything that I'm saying.
Okay.
I maybe have to go back, do my own research, and give you some references. But consciousness is the auric field, it's the soul, it's the awareness. It's awareness. And that was the layman, what they're teaching the basic children, the basic child, that consciousness only comes from the brain. Consciousness only comes from the brain.
Yeah. I mean,
only know yourself
even down to ancient Kemet, they say pineal gland, right? Right.
Yes, that's the pineal gland, but it doesn't only come from, like, even the chakras. The chakras exist outside of the body. That was one of the dreams that I've had when I first started awakening. I didn't even know we had chakras outside of the body, and so until I saw myself in a dream state where I'm meditating, and I'm like, okay, I'm meditating, third eye, crown chakra, and then I'm like, what? 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th? I'm like, what? I woke up from the dream like, what? We have chakras outside of the body? And, I started looking that up, and, I'm a little crazy, so I kept on looking it up. And that means consciousness exists outside of the body. That's, like I want to say, that's what I teach in my courses. To be a priestess, a priest, you have to know yourself to be a crystalline grid outside of your physical form. That's why it's called, it's a trick on words, because it's called mind magic, because you have to know the mind is the computer and you're not only the physical form. People like me that have had near-death experiences, we have seen ourselves outside of the body. I've seen myself outside of the body. I was 12 years old and I seen my classmates, and I went to Catholic school, so I didn't discuss this, and it made no sense even at 12, not till like years later. So consciousness, obviously, I literally know it exists outside of the body. Thank God there's science and other stuff, heavy quantum science that explains things that, I'm not the science type. I'm more of like, I'm just your metaphysical, philosophical type to explain it the way, in the words, this way. So you have to know yourself not only as the body. We're not saying to negate the body. The body is the prize. That's why we exist. You wouldn't necessarily be able to stay in this energetic form. I mean, you could, but it's not the same. It's not the same to actually be born in a physical vessel, or else then you become very much a ghost. It's different. It gets deep for this level right here.
I ain't mad at. Nah, that's, hey, listen. This is what you do. But, hey.
But let me piggyback on what Princess just said. Right now.
Real quick, Lola, please. I'm sorry, because I did type in the back. Kiki, I want to get her in there. Lola, please, if you don't mind, beloved, get in there as soon as she's done, because she has been patient. What you got to say, Kiki? Yeah.
Well, what you asked a question? Do we or do they, or yeah, do we think programming is bad? Right? Is that the still question that we're on?
I don't know if you can. Yeah, I was nodding. Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yes, it
So
is.
me personally, I don't look at things as good or bad. But what I will say, if I was gonna have to choose one, I would say it is bad. Programming actually takes away free will, and that is something that is not supposed to be done. In fact, taking away free will for so long with these programmings can actually lead a person astray. If you look at the movies, just it tells you in the movies, if you watch the movies where a person is using programming on their radios, listening to these voices, well, they always lead to doing something destructive. So people definitely should not get into programming on a long-term basis. That's for sure. My other thought is people always are looking for outside sources for these type of corrections within self, when in actuality they just it's just self has to want to do it. If you want to be a millionaire, well, then get yourself together to be that millionaire. If you don't have manifestation or creation as your gift, that's just my outlook on it.
I like that. Lola, go ahead, get in there, fam. I just want to make sure I gave her moment real quick too. Rock out.
What I was gonna say, as far as like to piggyback on what Princess had said, the government specifically has been studying consciousness for quite a while, and they've been studying it in what we understand in my world as under covert budgets that you don't see when you look at your government rosters and shit, but it's there because they understand that the capabilities of consciousness being outside the body is something that is of national security concern. They know that. They're still secretly studying that under different code names, but obviously under the Freedom of Information Act we just know about the ones in the past, like in the 90s and the 80s and so on. So it's like when she said, well, consciousness exists outside the body, you already know, for instance, if you get a feeling that something's wrong with somebody, that's not true. It's not you, right? They're not in your body, right? That is your consciousness being aware of something. Is your consciousness being told something? Is it receiving stimuli? Are you watching something? Are you being programmed through a television? No. This person that you're thinking about, that you're getting this feeling about, is on the other side of the planet. So when she said your consciousness is not restricted to your pineal gland, right? That was something that the Egyptians understood, that this is the source of thought and reasoning, and they were ahead of their time. But honestly, that's baseline shit. Like, your consciousness is not in your head. It's not in the center of your brain. That's not where it's at. Because if that was the case, there would be no such thing as you knowing anything outside the physical framework of your body, where you're having where your neurons is feeding information to your brain, if that was the case. So again, if the identification is I am in my body, right? Like, I'm in my body. Like, now you got a slight issue. If the identification is I am my body, right? You got another issue. You see what I'm saying? So it's not so much what you believe about consciousness. It's the fact that your wiring, right, has led you to identify, even if it's slight, with something outside of the true self. Now, the problem is not even a problem. The issue is, it sounds like a simple thing, but in life, it's not so simple. It's like when you going through something, you're not saying this ain't me. You going through it like in first person, not in third person. Like, you're not. But you have to constantly remind yourself, i.e., program yourself to understand that, hey, this right here is happening to me for a reason. Now I have to figure out the answer, because I am manifesting this circumstance on a different level for my own lesson. And I need to know what's being said to me in this moment, in this time. Like when you really get into the depth of why you even exist in a body. So it's like, I would disagree that, programming is bad. Like I said, it's like a hammer. It's not bad or good. It's just a matter of how you're using it and why you're using it. It existing is of no consequence, whether it exists or not. You see what I'm saying? Because you can use a hammer to build something or shoot. You can use a hammer to kill somebody or something else to kill them, frankly speaking. So, I understand where you might be stuck at, right? And let me say this to you too, Smitty. If your religion tells you that you are apart from God, God is above you, God is going to punish you, God is going to, like if your religion tells you, listen, there is separation. You are your body and your body is wrong and your body can never be right. And it's talking like that. Excuse the expression, but you need a new religion. Like that's why I eat the meat and spit the bones out in every religion.
Yes.
And I don't care what religion we talking about. There is no the truth in said religion, especially coming out of books. There is only truths that your internal compass will recognize, and outside of that, you know where the lies are in everything. And I'll tell you, this is what I learned in my experience through Islam. No matter how corrupt the books is, when you read something that's not the truth and you truly align with the true self, you know where the truth lies and where the lies are. Nobody has to tell you. You don't need proof. Your internal like compass, that part of you that know to grab your keys before you leave out, but you ignored that little that little note, right? And then you went out and realized, damn, I did tell myself that, and I that shit. You know the truth. So when it says that kitab cannot be corrupted, it's not talking about physical books. The truth cannot be corrupted because you are the truth. Like, so again, it's like there's certain parts of even Islam that I disagree with because it literally does just that. It separates the true self from its origin, which is the only thing in existence. And that separation right there is where we find, well, I'm a sinner, so I might as well keep sinning and just ask for forgiveness. And I'm going to share the same heaven as Jesus, but I'm going to go in there as a sinner. Like, even though nobody else is, like it's this dumb stuff. And I'm like, okay, this does not foster a better existence. It just don't. Like, that's the biggest issue most people have specifically with Christianity, that the base of it just doesn't foster a better existence. It fosters you continuing to be in this cycle of sin and asking for forgiveness and sinning again and asking for forgiveness and sinning again and asking for forgiveness. And it's like, how are you elevating? How? Where? You don't have to? Okay, fine. So what are we talking about? I'm not down in religion per se. I'm just saying, take what you know is good from it and take the truth from it. Don't worry about the lies. The lies ain't affecting you. Just take the truth and move based on that. And not always will you take all truths at all points in time. Like you said, there's the point where you got to learn how to walk and walk fast and then run and so on and so forth. Don't take it like, well, because you're not necessarily in alignment with certain things now that you won't be. There was a time when I went through several religions, but I realized it was an evolution of me, something I had to learn through every religion that I studied, every religion I allied myself with. It was a lesson I had to learn before I could get to anywhere else. I had to be there. So there is no, oh, that religion ain't shit. No, every religion has a lesson in it different for every single person that goes through it. So I never say to myself, I'm more spiritually elevated than a Christian. That ain't true. You see what I'm saying? So now, because I get what the discrepancy is, but you have to experience some things. I can't, like what Priestess is saying. To most of what she's saying, you have to have that experience. She can't put that into words. When she talk about experiencing your consciousness outside your body, nobody can tell you that and you understand. You have to have experience.
Right. I agree.
I'm just saying, like, the truth is in your experience. When I say I know you, it doesn't mean I read a book about you. To say I know means to say I have experience. I am. That's what that is. So I don't act like, well, some experiences I haven't had, but I don't discount them. You see what I'm saying? Even though I haven't had them, but I can't fully comprehend what someone's saying unless I've had that experience. And some I haven't had, and some I have. But go ahead, you got it.
I want to ask Kiki, considering what she said on that, what's your view on programming is not bad? It's like the hammer. That was a pretty decent example. Touche. What's your take on that? As far as it's not necessarily bad, it's more so how it's used. And you know, the first thing that came to my mind real quick as a chef, right? Retired chef. The flame, fire, it can be used to warm, right? It can be used to cook food. Now, if it gets out of hand, it gets out of control. Now we got a forest fire, right? So it can be very destructive, but it's extremely helpful, if not vital and necessary, just as much as water itself. What's your take on that, beloved? What you got, Kiki? Is she on mute? Hello? You there? You there? Might check on
Yeah, because I thought you had everybody. I thought you was doing the mute.
No. You good. No, you got the floor.
So,
You got the floor.
my thoughts on it, programming being the hammer to, I don't know, people like to use a gateway. I don't know. I could see how people can justify that, you know, but in actuality, just because it opens up the door doesn't necessarily make it good. So I see people who use mushrooms as a way to reprogram themselves, and they reprogram themselves into dimensions of no return. So my thought is this: you go within self can heal itself. The book, I mean, even that book that they use to deceive many people tells us that. My thoughts on the religion, where she touched that. To me, religion is blasphemy. I know it is. It's not of creation. And if you're speaking on universal law, then you know religion is not of creation. And that's my thought on that. And it was some other things, but I'm not really taking notes. I'm just going off my head thought. So
nah, it's okay. Freestyle it out. Freestyle that thing out. You got it, Shelf. You got it. Lola, you got anything last to that before we go ahead and click back on this, you know, for our last few minutes and stuff?
The only thing I would say is that I use I think for me in my life right now, I think somebody might.
I got it. Go ahead. I got you.
I use programming, and I have used programming on my children specifically, like consciously. I've used programming on them because I understand the nature of the world, that where it facilitates needing to program my children a certain way for their own survival. Like that's a matter of survival as a parent, but it's also a matter of survival as a species, right? So when I remind my children that they're beautiful, that they're smart, that, you know, they can do what they want to do in terms of where their talents lie, that they don't have to be afraid to express themselves, that, you know, they not to be afraid of things that aren't truly threatening, right? I'm programming them, right? Like with me, I don't play certain music around my children. My children didn't know really what a lot of music was, so they was adults, and I got 2 children who are adults. Like that was a part of my programming with them, so that they wouldn't have certain crap in their ear subconsciously, like leading them down a road that's to their destruction. So when I would play music, I would play music that was heavily you know, like monitored. And even now, I make sure that my children see me watching educational material quite a lot.
Oh my gosh.
Make
Yep.
sure that they
Yep.
understand that that's part of the programming that we do with our children, because it's to a degree part of our nature. You see that sometimes,
Oh,
for instance. Um, did you say something?
no. No, go ahead.
Oh, you see that a lot, for instance, overtly when it comes to in the animal kingdom. It's not so much that all species, like for instance, snakes, right? When they hatch out their eggs, they don't need their mother to teach them anything because they're reptiles, right? Their brain they got a certain brain. However, humans have a reptile brain and other brains on top of that. Elephants teach their young what to eat and what not to eat. They program their young, even when they're younger, not babies, but on like almost adolescents, how to protect the younger ones. Like they program the ones, and elephants that don't get that programming, like they get casted out, you notice there's a difference in how much they can survive. Like they can't really survive because they're not meant to survive on their own. They're meant to be programmed to be in a group. Like the group survives, not the individual. So, I would say that there's a place for programming, but I think to put it in layman's terms, when the things we do every day when it comes to programming is things like, we listen to materials that, allow us to feel inspired, right? That's a certain level of programming. I know, like, first thing in the morning, I don't want to listen to the news. I just don't. Like, I don't want to listen to bad stuff first thing in the morning because I don't want to program my mind to be focused on what's wrong first thing in the morning. I need inspiration. I might, just watch content that just might be uplifting or just educational, but never anything that's letting me know last night 80,000 people died and 4 of them probably died of COVID and it's back or something like that. No. So I do a healthy level of programming, but I think that's more on a surface level to explain that point. But I'll leave it there.
What I go to bed to? I go to bed to like nature sounds.
Me too.
Yeah. I just turn on I don't know, wild frogs, all kind of shit. Just owls hooting. You know what I'm saying? Like I just turn on nature sounds. Real talk. What I wake up to, I like to go ahead and I like to just kind of ease my day into it. I remember riding with homeboys going to work. This is in my 20s, and I got you, Priestess. I'm gonna give you the floor, love. I remember riding to work with some of my homeboys, and it'd be like 5:30 in the morning. They playing DMX. I'm like, bruh, can we ease our way into the morning? Like, nah, let's get me hyped. Let's get me going. But then come to find out you cussing everybody out at the light. Right? So how you start your day, definitely how you end your day. That's why I'm also very big on, I don't like going to bed with no type of like ill strife and stuff, if it's possible. I like to nip that in the bud before I rest. It's very important for my mental and my spirit. Extremely important. It makes it difficult for me to feel comfortable. And I know I got all this going on. I like to resolve things. And I would say, I don't know if it's different for women and men, but I know as a man, I can't stand when I got over my head or things I need to do and I ain't took care of it yet. Like we need to nip that shit in the bud ASAP. Get rid of it. Like get that moisture behind the wall before it turns into mold. Right? I digress. My mic is muted. What you got, Priestess? What you got, beloved?
Real quick. It's what I mean, let me click on it. He goes, what's the difference between initially he goes, what's the difference between a priestess and a witch? And then he states that both priestess and witch often have a spiritual focus. A priestess may serve a specific deity or deities or nature spirits, while a witch may work with a variety of spiritual. I don't know what he means, but I mean, I guess I get the gist. But I'm gonna say that's inaccurate.
I think in a nutshell, I think what he's saying
I'm
is
gonna touch base on it, and I'm gonna get off of it. Only because there's someone that does watch this. I don't want them to get confused because you're a priestess. I don't serve any deity or deities, and a lot of times witches tend to be more in nature than a priestess would. Really, we spend a lot of our time. I'm not saying witches don't too, because there's high priestess witches. It's deep. So like your beginner witch would spend more time in nature. You'll have your kitchen witch, you have your what's the kitchen inside, right? But your nature, I forgot the name of your nature witch. There's witches most times. Witches are in nature. We're not saying priestess aren't. Like, I do nature too. But for me to explain to you, to understand yourself as immortal, I have to be more than a channel. That's why I'm a Delphi priestess. I'm supposed to be, I know I'm in over my head, but the download is an oracle, right? An oracle understands herself not only as a physical form, she understands herself as consciousness. She understands herself as the one. You know, it gets deep. So a lot of times the calling of a priestess is the same as the calling as a witch. You know yourself as these are callings, because I didn't know in a million years to call myself a priestess. My channelings told me, hey, a Delphi priestess or a Delphi muse, because I love music a lot. So which goes hand in hand. There's a form of magic that is music. There's music magic. Like those of you like you, Smitty, that like music, you can make music magic and stuff like that. That's a whole different thing in itself. But a priestess does not necessarily, and I'll get off of it, does not necessarily serve a deity. If anything, she is to become the deity. She's to become the goddess. It's a high calling. A priest is the father, and the priestess is the mother. You would say, like, you know, in the glory that is. The woman is not usually. That's the whole thing when I started off saying that women are not considered to be hierarchy in the priestesshood, the priestesshood, because the priesthood is usually for the brothers, for the boys, for the masons, for the man. But the priestess is the divine feminine oracle and greater than oracles if need be. It's deep. So there's more to a priestesshood is a journey, and it's not easy. It is not easy because I'm still like, it's ongoing. You know, I'm coming on here still talking a certain level. I just don't want anyone to believe that that's the fundamentals. It's very much a heavy calling for a witch to be a witch, and a priestess to be a priestess, an oracle to be an oracle. Those are the feminine principles that I was talking about initially, where there's some men, like I said, that a female divinity, their spiritual divinity, can start to irritate the priest, the men, because there's not all priests are the Catholic priest. There's different types of priest. Not all priests are church priest. There's different callings for the priesthood, and you have the priestess, and there's a calling for her too. She's priestess. There's priestess that are in churches. I've seen it, but then there's a calling for more of a mystical. You know, it's different. It's just deep. That's it's not just as simple as that. Just wanted to say that real quick. You go ahead.
No, I mean, you good. Look, I think most people are aware that there is a difference between what is it? Let's say the whole like spirituality, religion, and tradition. Ritual, right? Ritual is different than tradition, right? So I do believe most people do get those basic premises. The thing that is always, for the most part, like misconstrued is how all of this is directed. Again, going back to the ancient Egyptian days. In the ancient Egyptian days, they wore snakes on the front of their crown. Right? What was it, Amati? Something like that.
The Wajet.
There you go. So it's like that's now something where it's like it's a horrible thing. How it's viewed, how it's channeled, how it's directed, that's the biggest daggone thing. Whether it's your religion or your spirituality, whether it's your lifestyle, however you move, or whether it's nothing at all, it's just how you direct it. But you got some comments here if you want to go ahead and real quick.
I know he's saying a lot, but I already know how he thinks. He's pretty cool.
No, I'm just saying.
To embody priestess energy, truth.
Which one?
What'd you say?
No, I'm just saying you.
Oh, the very next one after. The very next one after Bolo TV.
There you go.
To embody the priestess energy. Then he goes true, a Delta priestess. There is also seers and mythics and wizards. Where is energy? We are just in a suit, LOL. Thanks, sister. Feminine energy, true. More of a calling. Yes, it's a calling. It's not an easy calling. Like this is like layman and stuff, but I get attacked by priests. They don't like priestess. The men do not, you would think they gay. That's why I F with them like, so you gay then. They don't like women, and they don't like women they don't like to see a woman all in her beauty and glory and stuff. They be like, and I'm like,
priestess. We can't do that because
I know, but I'm just borderline traumatized, okay? All right, I'm sorry.
Why you traumatized?
I know the stuff I go through. Call those calling from those unknown energy. Male, female is more of a suit. For the suit, yes. Deeper awareness. Again, thank you for sharing out loud, sister. Okay, let's enjoy. Yes. I mean, it's all an illusion, but I'm very much here in this illusion with us. And when I'm in the ether, it could be something.
I actually want to ask you a question. You know, when you say that now, all right. So I remember. Do you remember when you first came up to my live? You remember?
Me?
Yeah, you. Like, do you remember like the very first time you came up to my live? So what you said was now, because I recognize that there's a holistic aspect to it. When you said
on Instagram.
Yeah, on Instagram. So
yeah.
You said, I see that you embrace your feminine energy. Break that down to me. Because I think that kind of ties into what you saying about you being traumatized. And I was even traumatized because I'm like, oh snap, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong?
No, you were, because I like to be on Instagram because it's just fun, whatever. We're all addicted, right? But then lately, Spirit's like, don't get on Instagram. Don't get on Instagram. So I'm trying not to. I'm trying hard not to. But when I saw you, everyone else there was one where there's girls, they're just showing their bodies, another one where there's fighting, and I came to yours and it was peaceful. It was quiet. I don't recall if you were playing music, but you were drawing, you were at peace. And so the feminine principle may not even necessarily be based on the term, the gender, but for the sake of duality is to say you were more at a space of peace. There was no aggression. You were a state at ease. It was as if you just came out of a meditation. It was beautiful. And I recognized your soul immediately, like, oh, okay, this is peaceful. This is safer. At least safer than over there.
So are men, all right, so is masculinity capable of being, I guess you can say, just as peaceful as maybe femininity? Is it possible for a man to be just as, or is it different? I don't know. I don't know how people see it.
Of course. You were proof of that. It's simple. Everybody can be at peace. Everything starts off at peace, really. Everything starts at peace. Tranquility, infinity, beauty, where, all, and then, you have to rekindle that back as you get older, because life can take a toll on you because society and so on. But you have to, in this day and age, I think you have to be able to sit in a certain level of solitude to understand your peace, because some people can't find peace within themselves to sit in peace, to create peace and have that energy. People love drama. Some people are literally addicted to drama because they're not at peace. Because if you're at peace with yourself, you're not looking to start problems. You're not looking to hurt people. You're not looking for issues. And that's not only in this level, even in the ethers, even in the astral realm. I want to be like, we're recruits. We need recruits in the astral realm.
Yeah.
I have a different perspective of the whole energy conversation. Then I gotta get ready to run.
No, we all get ready to get up out of here. Actually, that's perfect. So for real, matter of fact, we're on our final thoughts. Lola, whatever you gotta say, final thoughts. Kiki, whatever you gotta say, final thoughts. And we'll go ahead and we'll wrap this up, because that's actually perfect. Go ahead and take your time on it too. Whatever your final thoughts are, you ain't gotta rush it. It's your time frame. It's your world. I'm just in it. Let's rock out.
So what I'm saying isn't a negation of anything that's been said. However, perspective is everything. Seeing the angles is everything. All angles are true and not true. All truths are but half truths. So it's like when somebody says, well, feminine energy, right? I don't think good or bad. Again, like, to me, at least from what I've been taught and from my experience, feminine energy in and of itself is undifferentiated, meaning that there's aspects of feminine energy that's going to feel like bliss. It's going to be aspects of it that's going to feel like hell. It is a destroyer energy, and it's also a protector energy, and that is the conflict between how we think we want to be versus how we think we should be. And a lot of people point to, for instance, I think it's the vulture, right? It's one of the most loving animals on the planet, yet we don't know it to be loving. We know it to be something that represents death, destruction, debauchery, evil even, but it's the most gentlest creature. It's the most loving creature on the planet. So why is it that we don't experience it that way? In my martial arts training, I typically am trained by men, right, to fight like men. However, fighting like men allows for you to have an equal opportunity to fail at each and every time that you fight, because it's straight lined. Everybody knows when you get into a certain position, you're going to throw a certain punch. You're going to throw a certain kick. that you're gonna when you get to a certain level of fighting, you're going to be on the ground. It's expected. But the way feminine energy works is you're not going to know what's going to happen. It's going to feel like a ball of just anything and everything happening at the same time. And you can't fight it in any particular way because it's fighting you in every way. So that's the undifferentiated aspect of feminine energy that explains, for instance, the origins of the universe, which is a endless ocean of just all things and no thing at the same time, right? And when we compare it to masculine energy, it's not necessarily for me a comparison, but rather understanding the difference in polarity, in that undifferentiated, the opposite of let's say the complement of undifferentiated is a straight line, something that's concrete and it's orderly. It's not to say that orderly is better than undifferentiated. You don't have orderly without undifferentiated. You don't have a house unless you've had undifferentiated matter all over the place. And then you go into the cycles of first you got to have undifferentiated wood to make a house. To have a home, you can't just have every like flowers lined up on the wall 2 inches away from each other, like every single leaf in order. That's not a home. That people would say that's madness. You need flowers are designed in a way where there's no real order to them, but they're still beautiful. Same thing with music. Jazz music. When you're a musician in jazz, you know you have to feel where you need to be at in that music. You need to feel where your horn should be at. Nobody can tell you how to play that. You have to feel that. That comes from a certain level of undifferentiated energy that is not a straight line and say you do it here, do it there, and here, and then you repeat. That's what we call that straight line energy. So that energy is not always loving, and I think that's where people get it twisted when it comes to women. We can be very loving and very docile, right? But at the same time, don't scorn us, because we can essentially turn into Diablo itself. So it's like, well, are you still a woman when you are in that It's like, no, that's just the nature of women, because we have masculinity in us, but it's the yin and the yang. It takes a lot of masculine energy to stay consistent as a woman. It just does. Meaning masculine energy, discipline, that straight line order, that's what's necessary to be a woman. It takes a lot of discipline to stay in your feminine energy. That's, again, masculine supporting the feminine. So I don't see it as better than or different in respects to, okay, it's just a different level of energy that makes everything work. But I do think that sometimes women specifically, we get a bad rap because we're operating in our actual nature, but because of what is expected of us in social settings, we're not allowed to actually be in our full feminine energy, because we're supposed to be 100% docile. We're supposed to be 100% docile to service, other people. And that's not the full length of femininity. So when, Priestess said, well, some priests just don't feel the feminine women in priestess positions, it's because that's steeped in that social order. That's not steeped in that spiritual order. That's the social order that they're misconstruing. And then it starts to diminish their understanding of their own process, and then probably misconstrue other people's process listening to them, to say, well, women are less than, or they don't deserve, or they're evil in nature. Things like, I've heard those things, but that's a misunderstanding of energy in and of itself. So I would just disagree in terms of peace being truly what feminine energy is steeped in. I would argue feminine energy is steeped at its very core in chaos, which is not peaceful. However, you can see peace in chaos if you pontificate on that long enough. But I'll leave it there.
Yeah. Nah. I just want to get this to family real quick, because definitely you deserve this one. Everybody, make sure y'all go subscribe. Make sure that you go get your little nice taste of the love experience, as well as The Game of Dragons. Respect to the family. Rock out, Kiki. What you got? Oh, okay. All right. Well, she's gone. Well, what you got, Priestess? Yeah, I was literally just getting to it. What you got, Priestess?
I totally agree with what Miss Oshun said. What I want to say is that to close it out is I want to touch base on chaos so bad because she said chaos, because I found a certain like eye in the storm, if you will, in chaos. Chaos is creation, and in a certain level of what we call chaos to be evil and or crazy. It's when you're in that meditation and you understand yourself not to be just you got to be eternal. You start to just. You literally, like the Matrix, you just move everything, just like they're sending everything your way, you name it, and you're just at that. It's deep. It's deep. It took time to be able to do that. But I want to say that the potential that is humanity is infinite. It's not an easy journey. It's not doesn't look the same for everyone. And if you resonate with any of the information that's been said on this panel, you're one of them that has these potential. All of humanity has access to I want to be like the fawn gates, the gates that usually, the veil that usually holds us down where we can't see and we're like dead. It's gone, long gone. Now it's time for humanity to rise in the consciousness to know themselves as the great deities we are. Whatever you want to say, I don't want to sound too far-fetched, but those who really that watch me, that know me for these past 5 years, know yourself greater than the physical form, and not only as that, know yourself as eternal and, dare I say, immortal. And so it is.
All right. And I will go ahead and end it off. My final words. I am actually, because it's something I got to talk about. I'm very disturbed with Ray J. So, and a lot of other things. I'm actually getting ready to fire up a live. It will not be on Instagram or anything else. I'm just going to fire up on YouTube, Solo Dolo. So stay tuned for that in the next maybe about 10 minutes or so. If you need you a nice little nightcap, something chill to go ahead and just kind of laugh at and chill with, I got you. But with that being said, I digress. My mic is muted. Ladies, you have been phenomenal as always. Respect to the family, and we up out of here.
My mic is muted.
Down in the
gonna get you high. I'm really gonna blow you